Without wasting your precious time, in this video we are going to do the quick revision of respiration in plants, and these points are very important for the coming NEET exam. So let us start with the cellular respiration. Students, in cellular respiration what we can find is there is a biological oxidation of organic molecules. Biological oxidation of organic molecules, in the sense here we can find the breakdown of carbon-carbon bonds. Because of that, there is a release of energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And we know that ATP is a universal energy carrier or energy currency of the cell. In all the cells, including bacteria to human beings, in all the living cells, ATP is the universal energy carriers. And we must remember that respiration is amphibolic. Amphibolic means in respiration, in cellular respiration, we can find there is a breakdown of organic molecules and there is a synthesis of ATP, energy, and other intermediates which are going to involve in the preparation of other molecules. So in respiration, as we can find both catabolic as well as anabolic reactions, that's why it is considered as amphibolic. Now in the cellular respiration, the substrates involving are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and organic acids. These are the respiratory substrate, and the most preferred respiratory substrate in cellular respiration is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is the most preferred one. Now, based on the substrate involving in respiration, there are two types. One is floating, another one is protoplasmic respiration. In floating respiration, what we can find is fat or carbohydrate will be the respiratory substrate. Whereas in protoplasmic respiration, protein will be acting as a respiratory substrate. Now, based on the use of oxygen, there are two types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. Let us start with aerobic respiration. This is going to happen in the presence of oxygen, where we can find there is a breakdown of organic molecules like glucose in the presence of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and energy of 686 kilocalories. So from one glucose there is a release of 686 kilocalories of energy, and this 686 kilocalories is equal to 57 ATPs. Remember, from one glucose in aerobic respiration there is a formation of 686 kilocalories of energy or 57 ATPs. Now, anaerobic respiration is basically happen in absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, and because of that, there is an incomplete degradation of substrate, okay, into carbon dioxide and some compounds like ethyl alcohol and lactic acid. And remember, in anaerobic respiration, water is not released. In anaerobic respiration, water is not released, and energy also only few kilocalories, only few ATPs are going to produce in anaerobic respiration. Now there are two types of anaerobic respiration. One is alcoholic fermentation, another one is lactic acid fermentation. So you can find here, in alcoholic fermentation, glucose converts to two molecules of ethyl alcohol, two carbon dioxide, and some energy. In lactic acid fermentation, glucose converts to two lactic acid and some energy. So this anaerobic respiration mainly occurred in deep-seated tissues of plants and animals. And we can also find in germinating seeds, fruits, and microorganisms like yeast and bacteria. There we can find anaerobic respiration. Now, glycolysis is the splitting of sugar or breakdown of one glucose molecule. This glycolysis mainly occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. The location of glycolysis is cytoplasm. This pathway, glycolysis pathway, is also called as EMP pathway, embedded Mayer-Paranas pathway, and it has three steps: photophosphorylation, splitting of fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, and formation of pyruvic acid. These are the three steps. And at the end of glycolysis, we can find the breakdown of glucose to two molecules of pyruvic acid. There is a generation of 8 ATPs. So in glycolysis, in that aerobic respiration, one glucose molecule having 6 carbon atoms break down to produce 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, and each pyruvic acid contains 3 carbon atoms. And during this conversion, 2 ATPs and 2 NADH2s are going to release, which is equivalent to 8 ATPs. That is aerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, what we can find is in yeast, for example, in fungi yeast, glucose is converts to carbon dioxide, ethanol, and only 58 kilocalories of energy is going to release in the presence of enzyme zymase. So this is considered as alcoholic fermentation. This type of anaerobic respiration in yeast is considered as alcoholic fermentation. Whereas in bacteria, we can find lactic acid fermentation in bacteria as well as in our muscle cells. So in lactic acid fermentation, what we can find is in glycolysis, glucose converts to pyruvic acid. That pyruvic acid further converts to lactic acid in the presence of enzyme lactic acid dehydrogenase. So same process we can find in our muscle cells also. In our muscle cells also, when there is a oxygen inadvocate, oxygen is an inadvocate, we can find lactic acid fermentation, where glucose converts to lactic acid, and here in lactic acid fermentation, remember, carbon dioxide is not going to release. Whereas in alcoholic fermentation, carbon dioxide is going to release. In lactic acid fermentation, carbon dioxide is not going to release. And the overall representation of glucose metabolism is one glucose produces 2 pyruvic acid. This pyruvic acid enters into mitochondria for further oxidation, where it undergo complete oxidation in mitochondrial matrix. So it involves 2 steps. Pyruvic acid converts to acetyl-CoA, which is also called as oxidative decarboxylation. Next is Krebs cycle. Let us know more about Krebs cycle, which is also called as citric acid cycle, because the first stable product is citric acid, and that citric acid has 3 carboxylic group. That's why it is also called as tricarboxylic acid cycle. And this Krebs cycle is a central metabolic pathway, and here you can find both catabolism as well as anabolism. That's why Krebs cycle is amphibolic in nature. This pathway is amphibolic in nature, and it is the oxidation. Krebs cycle involves the oxidation of substrates like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. All these 3 types of biomolecules, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, they undergo complete oxidation in Krebs cycle itself. So it is considered as the common oxidative pathway, common catabolic pathway for all the 3 biomolecules. And here in this Krebs cycle, whatever the intermediates are there, those intermediates are used to produce macromolecules in our body. Means the intermediates are involving in anabolic reactions. They involving in anabolic reaction. And enzymes, all the enzymes of Krebs cycle are found in mitochondrial matrix. All the enzymes of this cycle present in mitochondrial matrix except succinate dehydrogenase. Remember, except succinate dehydrogenase, this one enzyme present in inner mitochondrial membrane. So remember children, for this pathway, the enzymes are located in mitochondrial matrix except one enzyme, succinate dehydrogenase, which is present in inner mitochondrial membrane. Very important to the exam. So this is a representation of Krebs cycle, where we can find pyruvate converts to 2 carbon acetyl-CoA by release of one carbon dioxide, that is decarboxylation. This 2 carbon acetyl-CoA fused with 4 carbon oxaloacetic acid to form 6 carbon citric acid. So the acceptor of TCA cycle is oxaloacetic acid, and the first stable product of TCA cycle is citric acid. So 6 carbon citric acid converts to 5 carbon alpha ketoglutaric acid, then followed by 4 carbon succinic acid, then 4 carbon malic acid, and finally oxaloacetic acid regenerates. So during this cycle, we can find the generation of 3 NADH2, and each NADH2 is equal to 3 ATPs, 1 FADH2, 1 FADH2 is equal to 2 ATPs, and 1 GTP, which is equal to 1 ATP. So total in Krebs cycle, we can find the formation of total 12 ATPs. 12 ATPs are going to form in Krebs cycle. So here in Krebs cycle, we can also find one phosphorylation, substrate level phosphorylation, that is the production of GTP is substrate level phosphorylation. And remember, acetyl-CoA is the common respiratory mediate for the breakdown of fat, carbohydrate, protein. For all the three, acetyl-CoA is the common respiratory intermediate. Then primary acceptor of TCA cycle, as I said, oxaloacetic acid. In TCA cycle, from one pyruvic acid, there is a generation of 3 NADH2, 1 GTP and 1 FADH2. So total in one TCA cycle, there is a generation of 12 ATPs, and it involves one substrate level phosphorylation to produce GTP, one substrate level phosphorylation. Now come to electron transport chain and our electron transport system. It is found in inner mitochondrial membrane, and this system involves total 5 multi-protein complexes. Electron transport system involves 5 multi-protein complexes, and it has 2 mobile electron carriers. One is ubiquinone, another one is cytochrome 6. And complex 5 consists of one enzyme called ATP synthase present in F0 F1 complex. And in electron transport system, oxygen acts as a final electron acceptor, where the electron it accepts from cytochrome A3. And in electron transport chain, we can find the complete oxidation of glucose, and greater number of ATPs are going to produce in this chain or in this system. Now we know that respiratory quotient is nothing but carbon dioxide release divided by carbon dioxide absorbed. Respiratory quotient is measured by respirometer. Remember, respirometer. And one glucose generates 38 ATPs. One glucose by complete oxidation produce 38 ATPs. When you calculate the RQ value for carbohydrate, the number of carbon dioxide release 6, number of oxygen absorbed 6. That's why RQ value for carbohydrate is 1, whereas for fat and protein RQ value is less than 1, and for organic acid RQ value is more than 1. Whereas in case of anaerobic respiration, RQ value is in infinity because there is no oxygen involved in this anaerobic respiration. So RQ value for anaerobic respiration is infinity. The oxidative phosphorylation means what? There is a formation of ATP by the transfer of phosphate group from the substrate to ADP. When there is addition of phosphate group to ADP, ADP converts to ATP. This is called oxidative phosphorylation. And in fermentation, there is a lack of oxygen when ETC is unusable. Fermentation occurs when there is a lack of oxygen. Because of this, the cell gets ATP at a primary means. By fermentation, cell gets ATP at a primary means. Now, by chemoosmotic coupling hypothesis, we can find that the ATP formation in chloroplast and mitochondria. This chemoosmotic theory by Mischel explain how the ATP is going to produce in chloroplast and in mitochondria. And this is because of proton gradient. The ATP generation by oxidative phosphorylation related to proton gradient. Remember, proton gradient.